All right, so we're going to start off talking about coterminal angles. And coterminal angles are angles that are off by 360 or 2 pi. So what we do is we add or subtract 360. So what I'm saying is that like 10 degrees and 350 degrees are called coterminal angles. Not 350, sorry, 370. 370 are coterminal angles because they're off by 360 degrees from each other. Just like negative 350 is coterminal because it's off by 360 degrees from each other. So all you have to do is you're going to add and subtract 360 to the original answer there. So what I mean is I'm going to do negative 60 and I'm going to add 360 to it, and then I'm going to subtract 360 to it. So those are your two answers you're going to write down there. So you're going to say 300 degrees and negative 420 degrees. So go ahead and pause the video and try 2 and 4 on your own, and then come back and see if you get it right. Okay, what's special about this one is that you could have said either of these answers because they're both negative and they're both off by the 360. So you can write either answer. I'll typically write the one closer to 0, but 855 is also correct. Just like with 505, you could have written the answer as the 865 because that's the one that's more than it, but more likely we would subtract it and use the 145 degrees. And then the negative one would be negative 215 degrees. So typically we use those two, but it is correct answer to do that one right there too. Now you have to know that to do these angles right here, we're going to learn in a second, but 360 degrees is the same as a 2 pi radian. So I have to add and subtract 2 pi over 1 to these. So we're going to be adding and subtracting 2 pi over 1. All right, so when we're adding subtracting fractions, you need a common denominator on this. So really multiply top and bottom by 12, or by 6 to get 12. So I'm really adding subtracting 12 pi over 6. So when I add my 12 pi, see, I get 29 pi over 6. When I subtract it, I get a positive still. If you do 17 minus your 12, I get 5 pi over 6. So either of those positives is fine. And then I have to subtract it one more time to get negative. So negative 7 pi over 6. So there's my negative, and either one of these two could be your positives. So for your next one here, we need to add and subtract 8 pi over 4, because I multiply top and bottom here by 4. So add it first, we get 11 pi over 4. Subtract it, we get negative 5 pi over 4. So if you haven't tried one on your own, you should try that now. So when you add 6 pi, you get a pi over 3. We subtract it, we get a negative 11 pi over 3. So those would be coterminal angles to each other. So next one, I just want you to sketch where these angles would fall, because you guys have a problem usually knowing how to find things later on if we don't know which quadrant the angle actually falls in. So negative just means you go backwards. So if I go this direction for a forward angle, I'm going to go this direction for the backwards angle. So negative 60 degrees, remember these are all right angles here. So like this is a 90-degree angle. So to go negative 60 is right about here. So 130, that's more than 90, but less than 180. So it falls right there. 550 is an entire time around. Remember, that's what we figured out up here. And then to 140. So if I go one whole time around, that will be 360. And then I have to go to 145 more degrees. So 505 would fall right there. Now to do your radians where they fall, so if an entire circle we said was 2 pi's, then that means a half a circle is going to be 1 pi, which means each quadrant is a half of a pi. So like this is a half of a pi, that's 1 pi, so this would be like 1.5 pi and 2 pi's. So 3/4 is between a half and 1. Or no, wait, yes, between half and 1. So it's right there. negative 5 pi over 3 down here. So that's almost negative 2, but not quite. So I'm going to go almost negative 2. So just going the negative 2 direction, but not quite. All right, try the next two on your own. Pause the video and come back to see if you're right. Hopefully you put both of those in the fourth quadrant. Now to convert between radians and degrees, we're going to multiply by pi over 180. And what's nice about the radian one is that I can just put pi over 180. That's the answer, 110 pi over 180. But what you might want to do is to try to reduce it. So if you have a graphing calculator, you just click this and hit math, enter, enter. If you have the other one, you just put the ABC button, and that will reduce it. I don't have one of those up here right now, though. So this is 150 pi over 180. So that would just be 5 pi over 18. Just knock off your ones. Your zeros mean. Now these we're going to multiply by 180 over pi. So our pi's cancel. So really all you're going to do in your calculator is 180 divided by your 9. So your answer is 20 degrees. So this one, when you multiply it, pi's cancel, and do 7 times 180, and then divide it by the 6. Let's see, so this is pi over 180. So do 45 over 180. That should be a quarter. And then multiply this one by 180 over pi. Pi's cancel, so do 80 divided by 4. 135 degrees. All right, so the last thing that we're going to talk about today are special right triangles. And what I want you to notice here, this is how I got the answer yesterday on our notes, is that on a 45-degree triangle, the sides across have to be the same. So this is 1, 1, and if you do Pythagorean theorem, you'll get that to square root of 2. If this is 5, and this will be 5 square root of 2. 10, 10, 10 square root of 2. That pattern always works. So across from your 30 here is called your x. That's double it. And this is your x radical 3. This is how I did this is the triangle I used yesterday. So if this is like 4, that's 8. This is 4 radical 3. 9, 18, 9 radical 3. So that pattern works every time. So for the first one here, if this is 30 degrees and my hypotenuse is 10, that makes this 5, and this would be 5 radical 3. So on this one, across from my 30 degrees is 3, so it goes 3, 6, 3 radical 3. For 45, we match them up. This is a 2, this is a 2, so this is 2 radical 2. These are tricky here. So if my hypotenuse is 5, that means that the x value is 5 over radical 2. Like I'm going to let this equal 5 over here. So I have to divide both sides to solve for my x value. So these are both 5 over radical 2. All right, and then this one here, my across from my 60 equals 4, which means our x value is 4 over radical 3. 4 over radical 3, which makes this 8 over radical 3.